Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Let's start the morning milking. Yeah, that's right. We're going to look at the do's and don'ts of making videos on Gerard the Completionist. First, let's look at the do's, right? We have Mudahar here, and of course, he uses his attorneys. He vets, his his scripts before he starts saying things on the internet. So let's see what he's got to say about this whole Gerard situation.
Of course, all the condolences, for sure. But when we looked into this charity, one of the biggest red flags showed up, and that was the
Red flags. You see that? Red flags. That could be many things.
Open Hand Foundation. Now, while it is a 501c3 charitable organization, tax-free, all designed for public charity, we wanted to look into this organization with a much more in-depth look, because we found something a little unsavory. And by we,
A little unsavory. You see that? Choice of words. Being unsavory, not illegal. Red flags are not illegal.
I mean Karl Jobst and me. We were working on the story together, and
Do you think they're going to be working on any further stories together? I don't know, man.
the actual results are very damning. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we looked at the Open Hand Foundation,
The actual results are very damning. Okay? Look at his choice of words. Right? None of them are felonies. Right? They're just, it's the same thing as saying, hey, you know what? This guy's fat. I don't like him. He's a liar. Stuff like that. Now, let's look at the don'ts. Right? With one law expert, one law genius in Australia, Mr. Karl Jobst.
Hello, you absolute legends. Last month, I released 2 videos outlining charity fraud committed by the Completionist and his charity, the Open Hand Foundation. Those 2 videos can basically be summed up with 3 main allegations. 1. The Completionist committed charity fraud by making false, misleading statements about what the charity was doing in order to solicit donations. 2. The Completionist stole donations that were supposed to go to the Open Hand Foundation. And 3. The revenue generated by the golf tournament run by Gerard's family was not being sent to the Open Hand Foundation.
All right, guys. Well, for those of you, who are not lawyers like me, and this is not legal advice of any kind. In the U.S., we have a saying that says that, the color of justice is green. Right? Meaning that the best lawyers that you can hire is probably going to be the best outcome for you over here. Now, I am no law expert. Of course, I'm not a law expert, especially not like the famous, right, defamation expert and law expert, Mr. Karl Jobst. But one thing, that is not smart to do, just in general, is to be leveling these type of accusations towards multimillionaires, right? Probably not the best thing to do, especially when you live in a country that doesn't have free speech like we do, right? The first one here, charity fraud, pretty serious crime. And so is stealing money, right? I mean, this is pretty bad, right? I mean, these are not things that I would say about a person that has not been convicted of anything, right? Because, when I think about Gerard, I think like an idiot, when it comes to this type of stuff. Can I say he's a liar? I saw him lie on camera. Yeah, but that's not a felony. Right? Lying is not a felony. It could be that he didn't know. Right? From their interview together, he sounds just like a dude that was a front part of the company. His family was running the charity, and he didn't really have any concrete answers. That's why he had to come up with this response video that was prepared by lawyers afterwards. I think that the only reason that Karl Jobst hasn't received a concern notice yet, as far as I know, is because the father never considered Gerard's career as anything serious. He wanted his son to be a engineer, right? He doesn't really consider this of anything that he does of any worth, if you are to believe some of the words that Gerard said, right? I think if they make enough noise to where they're affecting his charity, then you might see him do something. Because at this point, all he has to do is raise an eyebrow, and this guy's gone, right? Karl Jobst could be in complete ruin forever. This guy, you know, Gerard's dad is, last time I checked, right, he was worth over $50 million. So going over to Australia and just causing havoc in his life would be a drop in the bucket. Let's see what else our boy here has to say.
These are extremely serious allegations, and to be clear, when I made those allegations, I was being extremely serious. I wouldn't say these types of things without having
Being serious. So serial.
very good reason to do so. And now, finally,
Your very good reason to do so is our entertainment, because you're a law genius.
after almost an entire month, the Completionist has responded, and his response is terrible. It's one of the worst videos I've ever seen. He is
That's probably because it was written by a lawyer. And we know Karl Jobst isn't finding lawyers, right?
manipulative, he lies, he blames everyone else, he provides no relevant evidence, he misdirects, he constructs multiple
Hey, wait a minute. That sounds very familiar. That sounds like a video I just saw from some Australian law expert.
and arguments, and best of all, he threatens legal action against me. Gerard seems to think that just saying you didn't do something means you didn't do it, regardless of whether
I know another guy that thinks that. I know another guy that thinks that.
you actually did, and if you say it with enough emotion, it must be true. Initially, this seemed to work, with all of his friends and sycophants exclaiming confidently on Twitter that he had done nothing wrong. And it was actually Mutahar and I that were the villains, because you see, we aren't experts, and we don't know what we are talking about.
Well, he's right about that. I mean, you got to give him that, right? Like, you're not an expert. You're proven not an expert, right? You have taken the biggest L of 2025.
To admit, when I made my previous videos, I kind of glossed over some of the evidence. I basically assumed that the fraud was so obvious I didn't need to explain. But
The fraud was so obvious again, and felonies, you know, just throw them on out there, you know, just throw out felony. As far as I know, it's been over a year and nobody's been charged.
evidently, this isn't the case. So in this video, I'm going to respond to Gerard and make it clear that he did in fact commit charity fraud. He did
in fact commit charity fraud. What is your evidence for that? Is that? Do you have court papers? Is this? Did you get this off of Reddit? Do you have text messages? Because the only way charity fraud can be committed by this man is if I see court papers that say he committed charity fraud, where he has been convicted on it. Because here in the U.S., unlike Australia, right, it's innocent until proven guilty. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. The reason I'm saying this is just, it's not because I think this man is innocent. The reason I'm telling you these things is because, you know, if you're an up-and-coming YouTuber out there and you want to follow in this man's footsteps, you really need to consult a lawyer. I mean, this idiot here is asserting that this man has committed crimes when, you know, he may suspect it. He's not asking as a question, right? He's not making any ambiguous statements of any kind. He is saying that he did it. This guy did it when he wasn't even running the charity. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to know that he is overstepping his boundaries here, at least as far as we can see from Australia, right? But if this was, I mean, just any person, if it wasn't these two guys and you had one guy accusing another guy of a crime that he has not been charged with, but one guy is asserting that you are that, right? Like you have been convicted. This is just a dumb idea. You know, this is where your lack of preparation, right? When you're pretending to be a law expert, when you're pretending to be a reporter or a journalist, this is what happens. I mean, this is where this guy opens up himself to people to take action against him. In my humble opinion, based on what we've seen with Billy Mitchell. and these here are direct. There is no, I played with words, I used and or, I did this. Remember all the excuses he was saying after he lost the case? Well, there's none of that here. You're accusing this man of a crime. And we don't know if it was actually him, if he's just the mouthpiece, right? And I would not do that, especially to somebody that has that many resources. Just go across the pond and actually destroy your life in court, not even by winning, just by keeping you in court, because you don't have a pot to piss in anymore. I'd be calling him up, going, hey, buddy, we had some good times, right? You want to do a collab? Revive our careers together?
Fact, embezzled donations, and the golf money is in fact still missing.
Embezzled donations? What the? I mean, is this guy really smart? He's a good presenter, man. He's a good presenter, but, I mean, he's talking about felonies. Now you're talking about embezzlement? And you're putting it square on him? I mean, I'm no law expert, right? I haven't looked at the incorporation papers of the, different entities that we're talking about here. I don't know who is signing checks. I don't know any of those things, right? Because I'm not privy to the company's books. And I'm pretty sure Karl Jobst isn't either. So to say these kind of things is pretty dumb. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And again, guys, I'm not just here to clown on this guy. If you guys want to do this kind of work, great, do it. Entertain us all. But don't do stupid shit like this. I mean, he's really putting himself in the crosshairs here.
If he feels confident enough, or perhaps stupid enough to test my claims in court, I will happily oblige him.
And then, after you do all that stuff, you challenge them to sue you. You'll be happy to oblige them. With what money? With what money? Who's going to give you money for this lawsuit? Because whatever money they give you is not going to be for this lawsuit. It's going to be for Billy. You're going to have to pay Peter to pay Paul, right? Borrow from Peter to pay Paul, because you're already in the hole. That's all Billy money. All Billy money. This is some of the stupidest things that I've ever seen on YouTube a man commit, right? They say when the man that defends himself has a fool for a client. I mean, this is what we're seeing here. I don't know jack squat about the law, guys. I would ask my lawyer before saying any of these things. But, if he did that, we wouldn't have anything to talk about, right? I mean, can you see now, after the Billy trial, how dumb this is? Right now, Karl Jobst is living on borrowed time. He's living on the mercy, not of Gerard, but of Gerard's dad. Anytime he wants, he can squash him just like a bug. This guy is over here accusing the whole family of crimes. The whole family of crimes. And then, if you look at all his videos, he said it more than once, and it's just nuts. I mean, it really is nuts. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. It's a huge laughter because you could see the difference, right? You could see the difference on how this guy lays out what he says, and he even said himself, I don't use that passionate language. It's not passionate. It's freaking dumb. It's just dumb.
Know that I have lost a lot of your trust at home, and I want to spend as much time as it will take to rebuild and re-earn your trust. It's
Karl,
going to take
are
time,
you going to re-earn our
but I'm
trust?
willing to put in the
Is Karl going to make another video, one of these?
and I hope you give me a chance.
Remember Step Brothers? This is what this is, right? In YouTube, Step Brothers, both him and Gerard should just interview as a team. An apology as a team. Think about it.
This is what Gerard said back in January when he returned to YouTube less than 2 months after his charity scam was exposed. I have no idea what he meant when he said that he wanted to re-earn your trust, because after this...
Do you have an idea now, though? Do you have an idea now what he means by re-earn your trust?
He continued to pretend that nothing ever happened, and he never spoke of it again.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you returned to YouTube like nothing happened, right? You put your video out there, you had to take it down because you even had a sponsor. Guys, I think this gentleman is going to provide us with plenty of fun here. This is an absolutely bad idea. You know, I wanted to point out the kind of peril that he puts himself into. He accuses people of felonies, crimes here in California. He even invites them to sue him. This is absolutely nuts. I don't know how these videos can still be up. I guess based on his experience with Australian law, because he's, you know, Australian law expert. It doesn't matter now because they've been up for so long. But man, if Gerard's dad really wants to put the screws to this guy, all he has to do is make a phone call. People, don't put yourself in this position. Ask questions, right? You can talk about people committing crimes after they've committed them, right? Not before. In the U.S., you're innocent until proven guilty. You could be convicted in the public opinion, the court of public opinion, right? I can sit here and say this guy's ugly, this guy's fat. I can make fun of his weight, his video games, you know, a bunch of stuff. But when it comes to actually accusing people of crimes, if you live in countries like Karl does, when you don't have the protections that we do here in the U.S., you're just asking for trouble. Where this is going to end, I don't know. But if Karl wants to strike right now, oh man, that's I wouldn't be making videos on this guy at all. Because if this guy wants to come after him right now, he's in the weakest position that he's ever been in. All right, humans. Thank you for joining me on the Morning Milk. My voice is gone. Like I told you, I've been having voice issues. I got papers to write. I have homework to turn in, so I might be delayed a day or two in making another one. So, you know, if I can, I'll make one if I start feeling better. I got to take some meds, but I got to get my homework done. Guys, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.